Today we're gonna talk about probability or likelihood. What's a probability or likelihood is? It's the chances that something will happen or how likely it is that an event will occur. What does it mean? For example, if today is Tuesday and I'm asking you what you think, what's your probability of tomorrow is going to be Wednesday. Of course, if today is Tuesday, so tomorrow is gonna be Wednesday. So if you're sure about something 100%, you're very accurate about it, you're so positive about it, so you will say, yes, I'm certain, I'm sure about it. Another example, if this year is 2020 and I ask you what is the probability that next year is gonna be 2005, is it possible to happen? No, it is impossible to happen. So if nothing will never happen and you're sure that it will never happen, so we say impossible. Miss, can we do it a little bit easier for me to memorize? I might have to memorize all the action or all the events if it's possible, impossible to happen and so on? No. Let's imagine that the probability is just like a number line that starts with a 0 and ends with 1, or start with a 0% and ends with 100%. That's the two probability that we talked about. If you're sure about something that will happen, I'm sure 100% that event will happen, so we called it certain. We called it certain. I'm certain. If something that 0% will happen, it will never happen, so we called it impossible. It's impossible to happen, right? So if it's a 0% to happen or will never happen, we called it it's impossible. If it's 100%, I'm sure about it, so I'm called it certain. If something that half and half, maybe yes, maybe no. Like what? Like if you have a coin, and if you toss the coin had just a head or a tail. So it could be a head, or a tail. So if you toss a coin, so it could be a head or a tail. Could it be any other thing? No, it just has two things, a head or a tail. So it could be 50% head or 50% tail. So in this case, if it's a 50% or half of the number, we called it even chance or equally likely. We called it even a chance or equally likely. Okay, what about if something, it may happen but I'm not sure about it, or it may happen but not 100% will happen. If something that less than a half, if it's less than a half, we called it unlikely or poor chance. It has a poor chance to happen. If it's more than a half but it's not 100% to happen, we called it likely or good chance. I'm gonna leave this chart here so you always memorize it. But miss, how I will know if it's a 0, if it's a less than a half, or it's a half or more than a half? For example, if I give you an example about the dice, you all know what a dice is. A dice. The playing dice that we play with, these dice. You all know that these dice have a number from 1 to 6, right? We all know that the dice has numbers from 1 to 6. So, if we did it like this, numbers from 1 to 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And I asked you, what is the likelihood of getting 1? If you look at the number on the dice, it has numbers from 1 to 6. How many ones do you have here? I just have 1. 1 out of how many numbers? 1 out of 6 numbers. Just write it as a fraction. Now it's 1 out of 6. If we have 6 numbers, what is the half of 6? The half of 6 is 3. So here I'm asking you about just one number out of the 3 or out of the 6. So it's less than the half. 1 is less than 3. So 1 out of 6, so it is unlikely. Another example. What is the likelihood of getting an odd number? Let's count how many odd numbers do we have here. We have 1, we have 3, we have 5. How many odd numbers did I circle? 1, 2, 3 odd number. Out of how many numbers in all? Out of 6 numbers. So I have 3 out of 6. 3 out of 6, exactly the half. 3 is exactly the half of 6. So it is even chance. As long as it's exactly the half, so we called it even chance. Another example. If I asked you what is the likelihood of getting 9? Look at the numbers on the dice. It's from 1 to 6. Do we have 9 here? No. So what is the probability of getting a number that is not among my numbers? So it is impossible to happen. Correct. It's impossible to happen. Question D, or another question, it said, what is the likelihood of getting 6 or less? If getting 6 or less, all these numbers are less than 6, and I have 6. So do I have another chance to getting any number that not 6 or less than 6? No. So it is certain. As long as I'm talking about all the number I have, so it is certain.